It's the NFL Combine Review and Free Agency Preview with Aaron Schatz and Mike Tanier, the Schatz and Tanier NFL podcast from FTN Fantasy. Our irregular little podcast is here irregularly, back from the Combine in Indianapolis, ready to talk to folks about the Combine and free agency, whether you are watching live on YouTube or listening later as a podcast. Don't forget, if you are watching live, you can ask questions while we are talking and make comments. I am Aaron Schatz of ftnfantasy.com/DVOA. He is Mike Tanier of the Too Deep Zone at miketanier.substack.com. Make sure you are a subscriber. Before we review the Combine, let's just, acknowledge the passing of Chris Mortenson.
Yeah.
A great NFL reporter. I felt a little embarrassed. Everybody was posting their, great, Chris Mortenson stories. I have no great Chris Mortenson stories. He just was a really good reporter, as far as I know. I didn't know him personally at all. Did you? Do you have any Chris Mortenson stories?
I have like a handshake or two at various combines, and I think I might have gotten one email or something to the effect of, "That was really funny." I don't know the context, and I couldn't pull it up. But a pioneer, he invents this role that we see. Schefter and
the TV insider role,
the TV insider role, and it's unbelievably difficult to do now. Like, people don't appreciate how much effort goes into building the relationships that lead to being the trusted insider for all of these different people. Imagine being the first person to do it. How much trust you have to build, how much respect you have to build that no one has ever built before. You can't just say, "Well, ESPN wants me to do this, so give me the contact info." Mortenson had to plow that path for everyone.
The other obviously big news in the media world over the last week was the retirement of Peter King. And you went to the Peter King Meetup in Indianapolis without Peter King at Sun King Brewing. How did that go? That was, for those who don't know, I left Friday afternoon, so I did not make it to the Sun King Brewing. You were there along with a lot of other big names. How did it go?
It was phenomenal. Kalen Kaler ran it from The Athletic, stepped into the shoes of Peter with the help of a lot of people. Albert Breer was there. Stephen Holder was there. Lots of us. Doug Farrar, of course, no stranger to folks here on this podcast, were there. We had a big panel. Zaire Franklin from the Colts was the guest of honor. Am I saying his name right?
Yes, Zaire Franklin.
Zaire Franklin, linebacker for the Colts. He came and did a Q&A. It was at the Sun King Brewery, which, again, is the cause of much of my weight gain and blood pressure being higher, but also much of the joy in my life. And it was a great event, great opportunity. Franklin was amazing. And we had a wonderful Q&A. And we all spent time there also reflecting, honoring what Peter King has brought to all of us. We have to remember, he's still with us.
Right. Peter is he's retiring, so he is still with us. Right. It's different than Chris Mortenson.
Yes, right. But just the absence of him not sort of being there all the time. He was there all the time at the Super Bowl. You know that. At the Combine, you turn the corner, he was there. His absence was definitely felt.
Let's talk a little bit about our time at the Combine. Rumors that we heard. You wrote something today in Too Deep Zone about Michael Penix that is a rumor that I actually didn't end up talking to anybody about. What's up with Michael Penix?
Just these mutterings about sort of his work habits, the weight room, et cetera, et cetera. Don't know how much of it is founded, but it came at me from a couple of different sources along the way. It's not like sometimes you hear that about a bunch of different guys and you can tell there's just smoke screen coming around. This was specific. He was asked about it at the podium. Somebody said, with your draft stock falling, somebody said, he's like, "My draft stock's falling?" And he gave this big take. What are you talking about? But I don't know how far to go with it, except then what I said in the Too Deep Zone is I've heard that in the past, and a lot of times it turns out true. So don't want to castigate the guy. I don't want to take him 20 steps down my draft board or anything. Just keeping an eye out for this. This is a thing that the NFL's hearing about, which means that they're going to react to it if they believe it's true.
I was surprised this morning, Ben Solak's article on The Ringer.
Yes.
Ben Solak, by the way, it's always fun to hang out with him because he looks like he's 12 years old. Ben Solak wrote about that he thinks that a lot of people are moving J.J. McCarthy up to quarterback 3.
Yeah.
I didn't get that sense. I still feel like it's Daniels is quarterback 3, or for some people, Drake May is quarterback 3.
Right. I would put Drake May quarterback 3. I could see McCarthy moving up. I think McCarthy is moving up. I think all of that rah-rah, zis, boom, bah personality he has, I think that is who he is. I think teams are going to respond to it. And you look at the tape, he doesn't throw the ball a lot, but he also doesn't throw a lot of BS either. He's not just tagging the ball on the flat, tagging the ball on the flat, tagging the ball on the flat. He throws a lot in the 5 to 15-yard range, good velocity, good accuracy, goodish decisions. We could talk about Kurt Warner and all, but good decisions, I think, for a college quarterback. So I guess at this point, nobody knows.
Yeah, I mean, you wrote in today about the whole issue of players who passing short and Bo Nix having so many short passes, except, Patrick Mahomes had a ton of short passes when he was in college. So you can't use that to automatically discount a quarterback prospect.
Right.
Again, it just shows you that translating quarterback performance from college to the NFL is incredibly complicated and difficult to do.
Right. And very inexact. The experts fail all the time. The rumor that's probably going to get you mad is how many times people brought up the Marvin Harrison at 3 to the Patriots scenario.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the idea, but all right. If that's what they want to do, my feeling is you don't get a chance to get a top 3 quarterback very often. Get one.
Agreed. And again, this is coming at me from so many sources. The first time I hear it, I think, well, we have to write about something. So we sort of come up with these scenarios. And then the fourth time someone hits back to me, well, one thing I heard was this. It's like something's getting emanated about that. Maybe it's the Patriots trying to get the value of the 3rd pick up or something, but it could also be this is a team that looks at that guy and says, well, what if we go grab Baker, the quarterback?
Right, or we use a later pick on McCarthy or something.
Yeah.
Sign a guy and then let them compete. And I mean, to me, if everybody feels like Daniels is a top 3 worthy quarterback, you take him at 3.
Right. Yeah, Derek Clausen is anti Daniels at that point. I've not caught up on why, but we were talking about it on the diaspora. So there's all kinds of thoughts out there right
now. Any other rumors or big stories you heard?
The Justin Fields trade should happen this week. I think is probably right.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it might be waiting for is for whether Atlanta can get Kirk Cousins. Because I keep hearing about Atlanta wanting Kirk Cousins. And then maybe if Atlanta doesn't get Kirk Cousins, then the Justin Fields trades happen because Atlanta is one of the possible Fields trade places. Right. And does Chicago want to trade Fields before they know whether Atlanta is in or out of the trade conversation?
That could work. I love the idea that Atlanta's like, get a 36-year-old coming off an injury, or we can get a scrambling guy who's 25. We could have steak, or we could have an ice cream sundae, or we can have 10 beers. I don't understand how the choice is Cousins or Fields, how that's a coherent plan moving forward.
Well, it's 2 very different quarterback situations, obviously, but same. You got to have one of them. So
right, different price points. Different with Cousins, it's are we going to try to win right away with all this other talent, or are you trying to do that with Fields? I don't know, but I know there's a lot of talk about that happening.
Xavier Worthy, of course, set a record in the 40. Yes. Although wide receivers with super fast 40s don't necessarily have the best track record.
Right.
Adonai Mitchell, which is weird for me to say.
Okay.
As a Jew, it's just weird to say Adonai Mitchell.
Okay. What's it supposed to be?
Adonai means God.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
It's like saying God sham God.
God sham God. But okay, go on.
He ran a 4.34 40 and he's 6'4". That's freaking impressive.
Unbelievably. And of course, the running back, not Guerrero.
Guerrero with the speed score, 3rd highest speed score for a running back ever. Yeah.
Yeah. There was something in the air tonight. Guerrero. I checked his film, Cordell Patterson vibes coming off.
He ran the fastest 40. It wasn't just that he had the best speed score. He ran the fastest 40 at 220 whatever pounds.
At 221 pounds. And when you watch him, he's a little bit of a long speed kind of guy. He's also a very upright guy. But with that speed score, I'm definitely looking at him and saying, well, what can you do on day 3 with this guy? Worthy is a hell of a prospect, by the way. He's not John Ross.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Although Ross was considered a top prospect, and then he had injury issues, and it just never happened for him. And Ross was not one of these guys who our projections like because they come out of a school that only has one wide receiver, and that wide receiver gets all the receiving. Right. He wasn't Corey Coleman.
Oh God.
Right. Ross was better regarded than that.
Better regarded than that, absolutely, but was just vertical guy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is vertical guy, and look at that speed. Go get him, and then, well, what else can he do? Well, he can't stay healthy for one thing.
The one guy I want to note is Keon Coleman.
Yes.
Because apparently his 40 was terrible, but in the agility drills, he had numbers similar to Puka Nacua.
Wow.
Right? Remember Puka Nacua, really disappointed at the combine because of things like his 40? Mm-hmm. But then there were these other drills he did really good in, and then he turned out to be really good. Apparently Coleman was sort of similar.
That's interesting. I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm having a little trouble looking things up. One of his teammates, Florida State's Jahim Bell, at tight end, had some phenomenal overall results. And Bell's an interesting guy because he moved from running back to tight end. And he was like a return man in there. And if you're looking for somebody, and I almost hate the Swiss Army knife, you can have this guy at tight end, but you can move him all over the field. Bell could be that guy who actually does that properly.
Yeah. We would remiss if we did not talk about our combine experience without talking about Matt Verderama living moss at Taco Bell.
Is that up? Did he post it?
I don't know if he's posted his post yet. I don't know if we can point people to the post about the Taco Bell, but apparently there is a Taco Bell in Indianapolis that has within it a nightclub. Like a Taco Bell nightclub where you can get Taco Bell and alcohol until 2:30 in the morning.
My son tells me they're called cantinas, Taco Bell cantinas.
Oh,
and they're not that unusual. So apparently they're around, but they're new to us. And yes, so it's got a dance floor and a bar, and the bar, anything besides, I guess, Bud Light's behind a cage because it's open at 3 in the morning in the middle of a city. But apparently the new thing to do is you go to Prime Steakhouse. And then at about 3 in the morning, you go from there to Taco Bell to Live Moss. Matt Verderama did this every single night. He has promised to write about the experience for Sports Illustrated, which maybe it went out of business in the last 45 minutes. I don't know. But Matt has not posted about it yet. So, Matt, where are you? I possibly in the alley outside of a Taco Bell, passed out for the last 36 hours, I'm afraid. But
did Mike and I go to the Taco Bell at 2:30 in the morning? No.
Gosh, no. Oh, he was hard selling me too. I'm at Prime. I'm trying to leave at 1 a.m. and I walk past him. Like, Mike, we're going to Prime. We're going to Taco Bell. We're going to Live Moss. Come on, be a man. I need this in my life.
All right, let's talk a little bit about free agency, which happens next week, folks. We're going to do a show a week from Thursday. So the legal tampering period, is Monday and Tuesday. The actual start of free agency is Wednesday, and then we're going to do our show Thursday, so we'll have a lot of free agent signings to discuss. Hitchhiker's Pie points out that also Jason Kelsey is having a retirement press conference in Philly this afternoon. We're assuming that because why would you hold a press conference to say you're coming back?
Right. Yeah, we're anticipating that, bracing for that. And yes, there was also news half hour before we came on, Mike Evans.
Yes, staying in Tampa Bay, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
To me, he could get paid wherever he went.
Yes.
So I think it showed that he prefers family stability and no state income tax to going and chasing a ring in another team.
Exactly.
He's got a ring already.
Yeah,
he can't feel like Tampa Bay has a strong chance to win it next year. No. This is more about family stability.
And it's not that far below market value. I think on a per year next year, it's market value, and then it's not what he would have gotten out there. But my next generation, I should have started doing this years ago, free agency analysis, is to look at the ages of the children of the players and say who has children who are in elementary school at this moment who will not want to pull them out. And they're the guys who are going to take the home count discount. Evans has 3 kids. If I'm guessing their ages, I don't know, but they're probably at the age where it's like, Daddy's not going to move, is he? no, baby daddy's not going to move.
No.
And daddy's not
Especially
moving.
when you can make $35 million a year, there's not really a big reason to move.
Yeah, you know what? We can stay put. It's fine. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting to look at the teams with the most cap space. I went to Over the Cap and looked at effective cap space. The Patriots are number one,
Yes.
$93 million. They have a load of money.
Yeah, they ain't got no players. So
Commanders are number two at 80.5, but they have a ton of free agents. So they actually really need to spend because they're going to have a lot of holes that need to be filled.
Yes.
They're just going to have a ton of turnover.
Yes, that's true. Jason at Over the Cap had this other metric he was using. I can't find it right now, but it kind of was like an indication of, well, how much cap space do you have if you do some of the normal, take the salary, turn it into bonus and spread it. And also how much do you have if you like take half your free agents or like a percentage of free agents and bring them in for stability's sake. We don't have that there, but you're right. That's exactly what Washington's in right now. They're going to have to spend a lot of that money in-house.
Hitchhiker's Pie Boy, by the way, points out that Mike Evans had his first kid when he was in college. That means that kid is probably in high school.
All the more reason not to move.
All the more reason not to pull him out.
All the more, yeah.
So Patriots, Commanders, Titans.
Yeah, they have work.
They have a lot of space. And then Bears, Texans, and Colts are all around 66 million.
Right. Texans are the ones you look at because, of course, they have a ton of in-house free agents too.
Yeah, but they also have the attraction of come play with CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans, and we're gonna go try to win this thing.
Exactly right. And that's a team that I could say we're gonna make a move. Colts are also interesting in there. And of course, we talk to a lot of Colts media. And like the thing is, when is the team going to try to open up? They have Pittman they have to take care of. And it sounds like Pittman wants to be a free agent. He's not going to take a hometown discount right now.
Yeah.
But when you look at what the Colts did this year, how they came close to the playoffs with a backup quarterback, is this a team that's actually going to start spending outside the building for a position other than quarterback anytime in the future?
The bottom teams in effective cap space, the Bills are at the bottom now.
Oh, God, yes.
Minus 44 million. The Dolphins are at minus 40 million and have the fewest players under contract, only 44 players under contract. So they have a lot of work to do.
Holy cow. Yeah. That's awful.
Chargers at minus 35.
Yep.
Saints, after some restructurings, of course, at minus 21.
Look at them go.
Now tied to Derek Carr for the next 3 years or whatever.
Yep.
And Broncos at minus 20 before cutting Russell Wilson.
Right. And that's not going to help them much.
No.
They're going to have to do other things. That cut is just like taking out future problems there. Yeah, the Dolphins and the Chargers are the two teams I look at. Like the Bills are going to figure this out. They've got a lot of depth. The Dolphins and the Chargers are teams I look at. Like, what are you going to do to solve this problem? How deep are the cuts going to go for a playoff team in one case and a very old rebuilding team in the other?
Do you have any free agents that you particularly like that might be a little bit more under the radar? I mean, obviously we all know about like big guys, like all the major edge rushers and, a couple of really great receivers. Although obviously no Evans now. Michael Pittman might be the best receiver left now with no Higgins and no Evans.
Right.
Cousins and there's we know the big names to talk about. Do you have anybody who sort of stands out to you?
Before I say this, I just clicked over to next year's salary cap.
Oh.
And the Saints are minus 58 million for next year. No other team is minus anything for next year. The Browns are next because they have like all that Deshaun money to deal with. I was trying to get really, really, really under the radar for this. And I'll start with one guy that I like who kind of overachieves everywhere he goes is Noah Brown, wide receiver.
Yes. Yeah. He had good numbers this year.
Yes. Good numbers this year. Good numbers last year. He's really fast. He's very tall. He's a special teams demon if you need him for that. But in terms of a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 that no one's going to really notice, that's one guy I like. I take it Terrell Dodson is not under the radar, right, for the Bills. Does that not count?
No, I think he is a little bit.
Okay. Well, he's awesome.
He's not a guy most people know.
He's amazing. He's a great all-purpose linebacker. He's very good in coverage. And I don't know how the Bills are going to – like the Bills, we talked about their cap space a minute ago. How they fit everything into the bag, I don't know. So this is the type of guy that they might look at and say, he's going to get, whatever linebackers get nowadays, $75 million somewhere. There's no way we can do that. And that would be
especially when they already pay Matt Milano a lot of money.
Yes.
They can't pay two of those guys a lot of money.
Right. So that's a good ball player. I got one more for you. I think we all talk about what's his name, Bryce Huff from the Jets.
Yes, he's everybody's official sleeper to the point where he's not asleep anymore.
Right. No, he's wide awake in dreamland here. If you say, I need this pure speed guy on the outside, and I don't really care about the run defense, and I can't afford Bryce Huff, or I just got outmaneuvered, consider Darrell Taylor of the Seahawks. Somebody who was coming along last year as that guy, almost got traded this last year because they're kind of fed up with his run defense. I don't think he was, I think he might have taken a step back. Young, unbelievably gifted, not a very good run defender, but man, he can bring screaming speed off the edge.
I had to write something for ESPN about underrated free agents, under the radar free agents. And it's funny, they didn't want me to pick people that were in Matt Bowen's top 50. And I said, but Matt knows what he's talking about. That's why. So one of the names that ended up not on my list, but I do feel like most fans are not that aware of, is Kendall Fuller from Washington.
Yes.
Who was by far the best Washington cornerback for the last 2 years. He had a really good coverage DVOA for the last 2 years, while everyone else in Washington last year was horrible.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good addition for some team.
And he was on Matt's list. That's why you left him off, right?
That's why, yeah. Some good interior offensive linemen. Andre James from the Raiders, center, was number 2 in pass block win rate.
Wow.
Among interior offensive linemen last year. And Graham Glasgow from the Lions, who's a little bit older and plays both center and guard, was number 2 in run block win rate.
Nice.
And is probably someone that no one thinks about, but would be a great for a team like a San Francisco or something that needed to add like an offensive lineman for a year or two.
Yeah, give us a guy.
Iceman says, Lions, please sign Kendall Fuller. Pretty please. I think every defensive free agent is going to end up getting assigned to the Lions, but obviously they do need cornerback help. The other one I thought, Kendrick Bourne.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Number 1 in receiving DVOA back in 2021. He's sort of been in Belichick's doghouse the last couple of years. Does really well in those ESPN receiver tracking metrics. I think he's a valuable guy who could come pretty cheap.
Is he still in New England?
He is still in New England, but we don't know. They're talking about whether they can re-sign him. I mean, I don't know what his relationship's like with Gerard Mayo.
Right.
But he's been in Belichick's doghouse.
For some reason, I thought like they were getting close to signing him. And yeah, if he was in Belichick's doghouse, that doesn't matter anymore. Good blocker, good role player.
Yeah.
And so is Trent Sherfield, who's been running around for a variety of teams, but like he's been in the Kyle Shanahan family tree in Miami and everything like that. Runs like the wind, will block hard, will play teams for you. And a lot of times that's your best bet because a lot of times you're looking for like the number 4 receiver. They've got to be able to play these variety of roles. You don't want to go out and get Robbie Chosen. Discover you need more than just somebody running fly routes.
And these are the guys who are probably like when we come on a week from Thursday, these guys probably will not have signed yet.
Right. Kendall Fuller might have by that point because I think there'll be like
Fuller might have. Yeah. Because I think teams know that he's good.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's just, cornerback coverage stats are so inconsistent. The fact that he's been very good for 2 years is pretty notable.
Right. Especially on a weaker team and a team that faces some pretty good quarterbacks.
Yeah. I'm excited. Going to have some movement. Going to have some player movement. Going to have lots to talk about next week.
I can't wait. The combine was a lot of fun, but I don't know. You got 6 quarterbacks and you got a couple of wide receivers, and a couple of edges, and there's not a lot of juice around many other things in this particular.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's so many edge rushers in free agency, and this is not a good draft for them.
No, there's like 3 at the top. There's all kind of fun guys. I was just looking up. We were talking about combine results. Muhammad Kamara of Colorado State had phenomenal workout results, and so I went and looked at his tape, and it was fun. It was fun to watch tape. There's a lot of guys out there, but when there's that many guys, it's almost like there's not a lot to talk about. And when there's 6 quarterbacks at the top, how much fun are you going to have? Let's really break down the edge rushing class and see who's going to be left for, some team at the end of the draft. Like, whoever's there is going to be good. Let's go sign them.
Yeah. All right. That does it for our combine review show and free agency preview a little bit. So make sure you put it on your calendar next Thursday, March 14th.
Yes.
We'll be here at 11 a.m. Eastern to break down all the initial free agent signings. Excited for that. Until then, he's Mike Tanier. Don't forget to subscribe, miketanier.substack.com. And I am Aaron Schatz of FTN Fantasy. And we will talk to you a week from Thursday. Free agency is going to go wild. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.